What's up, guys? Megan here with Bearable Traders. So I get asked a lot by the community, Megan, how do you draw your levels? In other words, my support and resistance points. And I've been promising a video like this for a while, so as promised, let's dive into it. So first, what is support and resistance? So a support level is the price that an asset does not fall below for a period of time. So this is created by buyers entering the market whenever the stock dips below a particular price. So if you've heard the term buy the dip, a lot of people are buying the dip at support levels. And alternatively, a resistance level is the price at which a stock meets pressure or a ceiling on its way up. This is created by sellers who are selling at that price. These levels are super important because they offer us a glimpse of where retail traders and larger funds have bought or sold multiple times to move the price away from it. These levels can be applied to any market, whether it's equities, altcoins, or Forex. And the reason we want to pay attention to them is that they offer traders a place for entries, partials, and exits. So on what time frame should we draw levels? Honestly, they can be used on any time frame. So whether you trade mostly off of the daily chart or the 5-minute chart, these levels can be found on any of them. However, the higher the time frame of the chart, like the daily or the weekly or the 60-minute, it's going to create a stronger level or area of support and resistance. This is because the higher the time frame, the more participants in this area in the past. So if you're looking at a level on the 1-minute chart and a few thousand shares were transacted here, chances are that on a higher time frame, you will see millions and billions at these levels. There are 3 ways to choose levels. One of them is where prices become stuck or stalled multiple times, which is mostly what we've discussed so far. But there are a couple other ways as well. One is where a large amount of volume has occurred, and the other is where gaps have formed in the chart. So we'll get into all of those. And the first one we're going to get into is where prices become stuck or stalled. And so how do we draw these? What you want to do is you want to look left. We mentioned that a lot in the room, look left. And what this means is back up your chart and see where prices had reaction in the past. What I like to do is I like to pick a level off of a higher time frame. And then when a stock is near that area, I want to zoom in and fine tune it. And I'll walk you through that. But basically, I want to start macro, so zoom out, and then I want to go micro and zoom in. Now, when I'm choosing a level, I want it to jump out at me at first glance. Now, this isn't necessarily the fine-tuned version, but I want to see an area where it looks like price has stalled. You want it to be so obvious that even your grandmother can see it from her rocking chair on the other side of the room. Because if you can see it, chances are someone else can also see it and that they're looking at it for a play. So if you find yourself questioning, is this the level? There's a good chance it may not be, and I would suggest either moving on to a different area on the chart or possibly a different chart altogether. All right, so let's get into some chart action. So here we have a weekly chart, as noted up here. And as I mentioned, I want to start by looking at it on a more macro level, so a little more zoomed out. Then we'll dial it in. So at first glance, I can see a few different levels or areas of support and resistance on this chart. I can see them here, I can see them here, here, and here. Let's go ahead and mark these, and remember, these are just rough levels to get us started. All right, so now we found an area with the naked eye, and what I want to do is I want to go ahead and zoom in to what we have here and just start to fine tune it a bit. So I want to get precise with it. We don't need to look at all the other levels. Let's just look at this area here and adjust it accordingly. Okay, so let's adjust these. Right now I'm only touching, this one candle up here. So let's bring it in so we get the most touches to this level. So I'm touching this candle, this candle, this candle. I'm actually gonna bring this up just a little bit to touch the bottom of this candle. And then I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna bring this one up as well. And I'm going to, let's go ahead and bring it up here so it's also touching this candle here. So now we've got a lot more touches. This is a much stronger area of support and resistance. And if I take my pen here, you can see how we've basically just waved in and out of this area. We did have, at a few points, some false breakouts, But for the most part, these levels of support and resistance have held pretty true and pretty strong. So now let's go ahead and flip over to one time frame lower. So in this case, we're going to move over to the daily chart. And you can still see the levels that we've drawn off of the weekly chart. And now we'll adjust it here as well. This allows us to see a few more candles and fine tune it a bit further. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm just going to zoom in here to make sure I'm doing pretty good in this area. You know, I see a couple candles here that are close enough to the level to where we could get them to touch and it would make it even stronger area here. So let's go ahead and do that. And then let's just back it up here and check this guy down here. Maybe put that guy up a little bit. I'd say that looks pretty good. All right, so we'll leave it there. So you'll see instead of having the one single touch up here at one point, we now have much more candles touching up here. And instead of having the one or two or a few single touches down here, we now have a lot more touches in here. So this makes a much stronger level. Same with this one right here. So now we're touching here, 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 here. We come over to this guy over here. So much, much better. All right, let's give it a go with another chart. So same situation, we're on the weekly chart here again. And at first glance, I can see some areas of support and resistance, right? So we're gonna go ahead and fine tune it. I want to focus on this one here in particular, and let's dive into this guy. So at first glance, I notice that there's some sort of level right up here. So we've got this wick that was thrown through this one, and then it touches the top side here. And then we're gonna go ahead and we'll just put one down here. Somewhere down here, there's a level of support. And now I really wanna dial it in. So again, I'm gonna take this level and I'm gonna drag it down until it touches a few more candles. So what I like about this one is now I'm touching this wick here, this wick here, this wick, 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 and this guy over here now. Whereas before I was up here and I did not catch this bounce candle right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and just actually move it up a tiny bit so that we also incorporate this guy here. So that's pretty good. And now let's go ahead and move over to the daily chart. So we're just gonna flip over here. And again, we're gonna fine tune it a bit more over here. So let's zoom in and just make sure that everything looks pretty good. I think we could just move this down a little bit. We still incorporated this over here, so that's good. And then I'm actually gonna go ahead and move this one up here and fine tune it there. I think we can get a couple more candles and a couple more touches in, and I think that looks pretty good. So this is the main type of level I'm typically looking for, but as I mentioned, there are a couple other ones that you can add into your game plan. So the next one is levels created off of high volume events. Here we can notice extremes in the volume. It's much higher than the average volume that you'll notice down here. And what we want to do is zoom in to the chart where this candle formed. So here we have this high volume event on this day. And now what I want to do is I want to go ahead and mark levels around the top and bottom of this candle. And now I can play the top and bottom levels of this candle from this high volume day. Let's pop over to another one and see if we can find a high volume event there. All right, so here's one on this chart here, right here. And you can notice it's much higher than the regular average volume. So what we want to do now, again, is zoom into this chart here and mark the highs and lows of this candle. And now what we can do is we can play those areas when the price gets to it. And the last one is levels from gaps in the price action. Here we can see large blank spaces on the chart, otherwise known as gaps. And now what we want to do is we want to draw lines where the top and the bottoms of the gap occur. Let's go ahead and hop over to another chart and we can notice the gaps on this one as well. So here and here. Similarly, we want to go ahead and draw a level where the tops and bottoms of the gap occurred. All right, you guys, hopefully this video helps you find better levels. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe, and then, come join the community and show me all of your awesome trades at your super sweet levels. Until next time, thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.